Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can improve your VAPI agent with custom tools messaging. So what exactly do I mean by custom tools messaging? Well, let's say our VAPI agent has some tools attached to it to perform some specific functions. This could be getting the availability of a calendar or booking an appointment into a calendar, looking up the user information in a database, or uploading a restaurant order to a CRM, basically just any API call that our agent is performing. When our VAPI agent makes this API tool call, it will say a generic default message like "one moment," "hold on a sec," or "give me a moment." While this is not a bad thing, the conversation doesn't sound as fluent or realistic. It could lead to a worse user experience, which could have customers hanging up. It can lead to error handling issues, which I will explain later. Or for some examples with longer API calls, it could leave users confused on the other line, where it could increase the chances of them actually interrupting the assistant and canceling the API call. So if we want to improve our agent and the user experience, let's go over to our improved example where we have customized tools messaging. So now we see here when our VAPI agent performs a function API tool call, we can configure our agent to say customized messages like "let me check the calendar for available times." This will just take a moment. "I'm going to find you in our database." This will just take a sec. "I will upload your order. Please give me a moment." By doing this keeps our user engaged on the phone. It makes our conversations sound more fluent and realistic. It increases the user experience. It handles errors better. For example, let's say for some reason an API endpoint that you're trying to interact with is down or takes longer than expected to get or upload that information. The user will know what's going on and can act accordingly. And then for use cases where there are longer API calls, where it takes like 5 to 10 seconds to do, the user will know to wait on the phone and not interrupt the assistant and potentially cancel the API call. So to highlight this example to you guys, I've created a very simple system prompt where I've said, "You are a hilarious assistant that tells funny jokes." Here I have attached two tools to it. They're both identical, where they will get a funny joke from the joke API platform when the user requests for one. The only difference is that this one has just default responses when they make the tool call, and this tool has customized messages to engage with the user. Here on the back end, this is where my VAPI assistant will make the API call to. It will make an API call to the joke API platform with this URL with the get method. So when I ask my assistant to tell me a funny joke, it will make a tool call, get a funny joke, and then reply back to me all in real time. So now I'm going to call my assistant with the first get joke tool, where there are no custom tool messages, just to show you guys what that sounds like.
"Yo, what's up?
Can you tell me a funny joke?
This'll just take a sec. Looks like my joke source is on a coffee break. But here's a classic. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Got another one if you want."
Wow, that's so funny. Can you tell me another one?
Give me a moment. Here's a good one. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. Want to hear more?
Yeah, give me one more.
Just a sec. Alright, here's another one for you. To whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word. Need another laugh?
No, that's good, thanks. So there you could kind of hear when the assistant made a tool call, it would say those default messages like "this will just take a sec" or "give me a moment." It didn't sound very fluent and there were awkward silent pauses in between the tool call. So I'm just going to add my other tool just to show you guys how much more fluent and realistic the conversation will sound now, as well as eliminating those awkward silent pauses.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, tell me a funny joke.
Sure, let me comb through my joke arsenal. Here's one for you. Oysters hate to give away their pearls because they are shellfish.
Wow, that's so funny. Tell me another one.
Sure, let me comb through my joke arsenal. Here's another gem for you. To whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word.
Wow, tell me one more joke.
Sure, let me comb through my joke arsenal. I'd keep going, but I'm worried I might accidentally tell a dad joke. How about you call back in 5 minutes?
So there you could hear the customized tools messaging being used. The conversation sounded a lot smoother and more realistic. On the last joke, I'm actually not sure what happened, but the API call must not have went through. But the assistant did tell me to come back in 5 minutes, which was a message failed request that I had customized for, which is what I was talking about previously with the error handling. So let me just show you how I created the tool with the custom messaging. So this website here is just JSON Editor Online, where it will help us format and edit our JSON. These two documents here, this is just our first joke with the default messages, and then this is the second one that I've edited with the customized tools messaging. To get this information, what you're going to want to do is hit copy ID here, head over to the VAPI get tool documentation, insert your bearer token here, and then paste your ID string into here, hit send request, and then now we see that we'll have our tool here. We'll hit the copy to clipboard here and then paste it into this document. Then now to customize our tools messaging, we can just head over to the VAPI documentation here, where it's given an example modification for the type of tools messaging that I can give. So for this tool, they had a get weather function where it would retrieve the current weather for a specified location. For the request start message, it would say checking the weather forecast, please wait. When it completed the tool call, it would say the weather and location is. If for some reason it failed, it would say I couldn't get the weather information right now. If there was a response delay, it would say it appears there is some delay in communication with the weather API. And then with the timing milliseconds here, it would just be how many milliseconds, or rather how many seconds it would take until this message would be notified back to the user on the call. So to modify this to fit our needs, we're going to copy to clipboard here, head back to JSON editor, paste the whole thing here, and now we're only going to grab the messages here, copy that, go here, enter, and then paste it here. And now we can just remove all of this. So now we have our get joke function with these messages. Obviously we're gonna change this to fit our needs, but now we have the JSON structure for our tool call, which will have the customized messages. So now for our request start message, we'll just change it to whatever you want your message to say when makes a tool call. The request complete will be whatever you want your message to say when the tool call is completed. Request failed will be whatever you want your message to say if the tool call fails. And then for request response delay, it will be whatever you want your message to say if the tool call is delayed by X milliseconds. And then for the time value you want here, you just change it to whatever you want. This is really powerful because obviously I don't think any assistant will be having a get joke function. Instead, you could have it for something like a get availability. If you want to get the available times of a Google Calendar, then you would have these different customized messages. Or if it was something like retrieve information, you'd customize it to say whatever it caters towards retrieving certain information. Obviously, the example I used with my get joke tool, it was very extreme, but I did it to show you guys that you can engage with your user and keep them occupied on the line while your assistant is making a tool call, just to enhance the user experience and also deal with error handling like I talked about before. If for some reason the API is down, or if even the API is delayed, you can let the customer know what's going on so they're not in the dark and so that they can act accordingly and not hang up. So now the final thing that we have to do to create this tool is to head back over to the VAPI documentation. With this time it's a create tool with the post method. So we're going to copy and paste this. Head over to Postman, which is just an API endpoint tester where we can manipulate and send data. Paste it in here and then change this to a post method. Now we're going to want to head over to body hit raw, go back to our JSON editor online. Now we're just going to want to remove these 3 values as well as org ID. And then for your server URL, you can obviously just change this to whatever API endpoint you want to connect it to. You can change these messages to what you want, and then the tool name and description, obviously just change that to what you want to change it to. We're gonna copy that, head back to Postman, paste it in here, click on headers. For key, we'll just type authorization. And then for a value here, you're just gonna enter your bearer token, which you can find by hitting API keys and then copying it here. Once you've pasted it into the headers, now let's just hit send. And now we see we have a 201 created. So that means we successfully created our tool. So let's just copy it and analyze it back in our JSON editor online. So now we have our function where our name is whatever we want, the description, all these requests start, request complete, request failed, response delay, as well as our server URL. And now with this framework, you can always change your tool messages by heading back and forth with Postman and creating or updating your tool. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hopefully I've given you guys some insight and some tips and tricks on how you guys can enhance your AI agent. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.